Really excited about our next fight at lightweight. We considered this one at the start of the overall full card prediction video as a possible fight of the night between Armenia's Arman Tsarukyan, and I will not even attempt to pronounce his nickname, taking on Nasrat Haqparast, representing Afghanistan and Germany. Two really good prospects in this lightweight division. Two very contrasting styles. For Nasrat Haqparast, great boxing, really nice kicks, really able to close distance well. He did get caught and maybe a little overconfident in the fight that he had against Drew Dober with those talents, but the wins that he was able to get off of the loss to Marcin held in his UFC debut, we're talking the JKC decision win, a win over Thibaut Gouti where I believe he was a minus 900 or 915 favorite, UFC Moncton, in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. Fight Night Picks was there for that one. And then the knockout win over Joaquim Silva. Huge wins, huge dose of momentum in his favor. And then Drew Dober took it all away. And for Nasrat Haqparast, well, what do? You pick up the pieces, and he took a fight about 6 months later against Alex Munoz. And listen, you might say, Alex Munoz, is he a body double for Michael Chandler? I'm putting it up on screen. They fight the same. They look like they could be twin brothers. Somebody might want to do a paternity test on those two guys. But in that fight, the story was Alex Munoz, he's Team Alpha Male's wrestling coach, and that's all he's going to do. And the first thing that he did in that fight was shoot a power double all the way across the cage, and he got it. He wrapped his hands and had Haqparast down. Haqparast had to work his way back up to his feet, and then after that, Munoz went 0 of 7 on takedowns. And that's been the story for Nasrat Haqparast's career. You get taken down 3 times against Marcin held, which you do not want to do because that guy will take your leg home. And then after that, didn't get taken down until the Munoz fight. And that's one of the better stats. If you're going to look stats-wise, it's the fact that Nasrat Haqparast has had really good takedown defense, up past 80% so far in his young UFC career. And I think it still is young to this point. But for Arman Tsarukyan, like we said, in the overall breakdown as this being a fight of the night, this guy came in on short notice at 22 years of age with 3 wins over UFC vets and had a very competitive fight of the night against Islam Makhachev. And again, I get it. 2 of the judges scored at 30-27 Makhachev. One of the judges had the stones to give Arman Tsarukyan the second round in that one. It was very, very competitive. And then from that, Tsarukyan parlayed it into really big wins over Olivier Aubert-Mercier that fights a kind of grinding type of style, if he will win. Tsarukyan got the better of him. And then they gave him an uber black belt and a guy with heavy hands in Davi Hamosh. Hamosh looked totally outclassed. Like, he looked like a fish out of water in that fight. He tried to do his classic, heavy-handedness to close distance, and he chased Tsarukyan the whole fight. So, maybe Haqparast is going to have that issue in this one. I think this is a great fight, though. Kind of crazy that they match 2 prospects like this up, but I love this fight.
So, way back in the day, this was a beautiful time in the early UFC Fox relationship, I guess. Brandon Thatch was supposed to fight Wonderboy Thompson, and it was like, wow, these are the 2 hottest prospects in the UFC, and they're going to match up together. And then Wonderboy gets hurt, so they put Benson Henderson in, and Brandon Thatch, there's a reason probably a lot of you guys don't know who Brandon Thatch is. This is a weird fight because it's 2 high-level prospects. And yes, Haqparast has that bad loss to Drew Dober. And you did bring up overconfidence a bit. Listen, Drew Dober's just better than Nasrat Haqparast at this stage of his career. I don't think it was a fault of Haqparast. It's just he went in there against a guy who right now is ranked, 11 or 12th in the division?
And the big thing off of that loss, too, and this is one of the things they pointed out on the commentary team before the Munoz fight, the fact that Nasrat Haqparast relocated himself and he was training with the Azaitar brothers, and we're going to see Ottman at the top of the card or close to the top of the card, and Marco Madsen to work the wrestling. And you really saw it again. Disappointing that double leg hit the first takedown attempt Munoz got. But then after that, it was like, oh, okay, I'm all right now.
The issue is, if Alex Munoz can take you down 1 time, Arman Tsarukyan can take you down 13. And it's not that it's just such a high number and that's why he's going to win. Tsarukyan's great at chaining his takedowns together. And we brought it up in one of the earlier predictions about Evloev. Tsarukyan can just chain until the cows go home, and he will not get tired. Like, his grappling cardio, and this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. There's different kinds of cardio. If you force a striker to grapple a lot, they're going to get tired a lot quicker. Tsarukyan, he's just so in tune with what his game plan should be. I have decent hands. Like, he's a good striker, but he knows where his bread gets buttered, and that's on the ground. He's got great top control, great submissions, and great ground and pound. For Haqparast against Munoz, yes, he was able to win that fight, but Munoz leading up to that fight, his best win was Nick Newell. It's really hard to compare the skill set of a Nick Newell to an Arman Tsarukyan. And for Haqparast, too, he's in this weird stage of his career because it seems like he can beat guys who choose to play his game with him. He's a phenomenal boxer. And go back and watch the Thibaut Gouti fight, correct? They're live. He beats the absolute brakes off Guti, but as he does start to tire near the end of that fight, Guti is right on him, and he is able to, he doesn't secure any takedowns, but he does. He makes it an ugly fight, and it starts to get too Haqparast. If you stand at range with Haqparast and just make it a technique for technique kind of fight, you're going to be in for a long night. But if you can make it an ugly fight, and I know that's an overused term in MMA, but it holds a lot of weight with Nasrat Haqparast, you can almost get him off of his game if you make it really ugly. Munoz is able to do that, and I don't think we saw the best Nasrat Haqparast throughout the rest of that fight. I think Haqparast at his best can probably finish Alex Munoz. With Tsarukyan, if he's able to get that initial takedown, and even on the feet, I don't think Tsarukyan's going to be lost against Haqparast. And I think his fight IQ is high enough, even at the young age of 24, that if he is starting to get hit on the feet, he will switch things up. He won't do what we saw poor Punahele Soriano got the big win over Dusko Todorovic, and Dusko just kept on leaning back. Again, shout out to Fat Joe. Kept on hitting him with the lean back. If Tsarukyan's starting to get hit, he will make the adjustments and not be susceptible to the same technique over and over and over again. Whereas with Haqparast, if he's not doing well in a fight or if there's something he struggles with, he doesn't always make the in-fight adjustments. And again, it's easy to say he's had a pretty successful career. There's only been that one big loss to Drew Dober, but even go all the way back to the Marcin held fight. And yes, his skill set's improved quite a bit since then. But it was a weird lack of fight IQ from Haqparast in that fight. On the feet, he would hurt Held every single time they had an exchange. He'd either put him down or rock him bad, but then he'd almost be like too aggressive and end up getting taken down. If he's able to hurt Tsarukyan and he does try to rush in for the kill, that might be the worst thing for him, because then you're making Tsarukyan's job easier. You're going to close the distance for him, make it so really he doesn't have to waste the energy doing it himself. And with Tsarukyan, last thing, he can do takedowns against the cage or in the middle of the mat. And it's something that not everyone can do that. Like Khabib himself really only goes for takedowns up against the cage. I like that Tsarukyan can mix it in inside or against the cage, but also in the open mat as well.
Matt, I don't think they'd accept you on Yellowstone because early on you were telling the cows to go home, not to come home. So you would be in a lot of trouble over there, Kevin Costner.
People gotta stop telling me about that show.
Yikes. But overall, I look at this fight and you're right. The weirdest thing, that strike differential for Nasrat Haqparast, and again, not the biggest into MMA stats. You got to take them with a huge grain of salt, especially where you have it weighted so much in that Guti fight. It's such a big differential. You don't often see that in MMA. You have great percentages from both of these guys. The striking defense, amazing from Nasrat Haqparast. And that long southpaw stance, he keeps that lead hand out there. He pumps a really nice jab. And again, training with the Azaitar brothers and Marco Madsen really going to set you up well for a lot of fights you're going to have. The only thing I would say about that Munoz fight is that they kind of gave him a layup. Again, Munoz was 6-0 going into that one. But what's the only issue that Munoz is going to pose you? Well, it's his wrestling. And after that initial takedown where it was all the way across the cage, but when he landed it and when Haqparast's butt hit the mat, he was right up against the cage and he could push himself right back up. Whereas with Arman Tsarukyan, it's going to be chain wrestling. It's going to be a lot of scrambles. And Arman Tsarukyan has a speed advantage over a lot of lightweights. And you kind of saw that in the loss that he had against Makhachev. He has so much speed in there that he's able to really kind of react. There's a lot of proactive things that you see in his fights. There's a lot of reactive things that you see, but when he is reactive, he's at least defensively sound, that he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So you look at the fight again that he had against Davi Ramos, and it was amazing. It was a masterclass in that this guy is an uber prospect that you have to really watch out for. So if we look at the overall Tapology votes, Matt, 643 of them, 76% have Tsarukyan, 88% have him to win by decision. If we bring out the handy-dandy odds in this one, Arman Tsarukyan open to -300. He's now -244 favorite. Nasrat Haqparast open to +250. He's now a +197. And again, it is an interesting fight because if it takes place on the feet, and if Nasrat Haqparast can really get moving early, I think he has a good opportunity to get a win in this one. It's just the fact that we've talked about this. If Arman Tsarukyan can go in there and disrupt the flow and disrupt the game plan, there's a great opportunity for Tsarukyan to get a win. So again, we talk about this fight, and you can draw parallels between this fight and even the co-main event. Dan Hooker's great on the feet. Where does he struggle? A little bit with his wrestling. Michael Chandler can really win it with the wrestling. Arman Tsarukyan, Nasrat Haqparast, very good prospects in this division. What do you expect in this fight?
Never compare these two guys to the co-main event. I understand a little bit, but Haqparast does not throw kicks at all. He is only boxing oriented, and for you to be a boxer against a guy who's only going out there to wrestle you, and again, there's oversimplification of what Tsarukyan can bring to the table, but Haqparast is going to have to get close to him to land any damaging strikes in the first place, and Haqparast has phenomenal hand speed. He does have good power in his hands. But it's really hard for me to predict, because right now in my mind it comes down to this. Can Arman Tsarukyan beat Nasrat Haqparast? Yes. Can Nasrat Haqparast knock out Arman Tsarukyan? I'm sure he could, but it's a lot easier to say that Tsarukyan can either go out there and just really confuse Nasrat Haqparast with his grappling. I think that's the key for Tsarukyan in this fight. I'm going to take Arman.
That's the thing. And I threw it up there for a layup, and you just swatted that out there like 2012 Bismack Biombo. I look at this one as
great.
Nasrat Haqparast, again, he's long from the southpaw stance. He can extend some of those punches. You saw Drew Dober catch him. I don't see that out of Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan's not going to catch him with a hook and knock him out or knock him down like that. Arman Tsarukyan's got to disrupt the flow, really start chopping down that lead leg, because Haqparast can kind of stand a little heavy on it, and you don't really see a lot of guys catching him. Maybe that's one opportunity there. But again, for Tsarukyan, just being elusive with your movement, and if you can frustrate Nasrat Haqparast, then you can really set yourself up well. I like Tsarukyan in this fight, but again, with the odds the way that they are, I'm probably not going to throw this one down on my card. I'm not. I might look at this one as a possibility after the first round and into the second
I'll
one.
hear that one more time.
But for me, I'm not going to throw this one down on my card. But I am going with Arman Tsarukyan to get the win here.
I like Tsarukyan. I'm sure I'll probably throw him into a parlay. I like his overall wrestling game. The fact that you can have a fight of the night with one of the best fighters in your division by doing the thing he does well. That's the craziest thing. Like, go back and watch that fight. He grapples with Islam Makhachev for 15 minutes and actually holds his own for the majority of it. Like, he does quite well, even though it was a loss, against a guy who, again, was just a minus 500 against RDA. I don't think that can be taken lightly. I love Tsarukyan in this fight. I really do.
Matt, we both love Disco against Punahele Soriano. We got to pump the brakes a little bit. But overall, I'm in agreement with you. Arman Tsarukyan should be able to get the win in this fight. And if he doesn't and Nasrat Haqparast gets a win, this is going to be ultimate fireworks. Really looking forward to this one. We have two big lightweight fights in our main and co-main event. Chandler taking on Hooker, and you've got Poirier, McGregor, the rematch. So as we always say with Fight Night Picks, Matt, let's get into it.